what we're doing is we're doing a project in with the Yavapai library, Yavapai College Library, and we're interviewing people from that have been with Yavapai for a while, so we can collect their memories. And with us today we have Sara Holter, who is tutorial specialist here at Yavapai College. She's been here. She's been a student at Yavapai College, and she currently works here in the Learning Center. So we're just excited to have her, and I guess we'll just go right into it. So tell us. I know who you are, but tell these people who you are and kind of what you do around here and kind of where you started.
Where I started? Well, I'm Sara Holter. I was a student here quite a while ago and graduated with an Associate of Arts degree 1993. I can't think that far back as far as my personal history goes. As a student, I was a tutor at Yavapai College. I tutored liberal studies, a couple of the sciences, communications, pretty much everything but math. And I was also the chairperson for the Student Leadership Council at the time, and helped restart the college newspaper, the Rough Rider, I think we called it at that time, the YC News, YC standing for not only Yavapai College, but your college newspaper. And I have been working as the tutorial specialist now for 5 or 6 years. Time frame is kind of odd. I can't always think of that. Prior to that, I was working in the Learning Center. I've always enjoyed my time in the Learning Center. Do you have any other specific questions you want to ask me, or just want me to ramble?
And we want you to ramble.
You want me to ramble?
Yes,
okay.
I do have, if we just decide you need some guidance in your rambling, I have some questions for you. But
okay. I like to tell everybody that I have the best job on campus because I get to work with students looking to improve their grades, whether they're a C student wanting to be a B, or the proverbial student that wants to be the best and have a good solid 4.0 GPA. I also get to work with some of the most fantastic people, and that is the tutors. The student tutors are self-motivated, really smart, concerned, all kinds of good things that I can say about the tutors. And it truly is the best job on campus. I just love watching the students grow, watching the tutors grow.
So what are some of your favorite memories? You said you were a tutor. Mm-hmm. So what are some of your favorite memories when you were a tutor?
The fact that students still contact me after all these years. I mean, they're married and have families now, and I occasionally get a call or a postcard or an email from them saying, I was thinking about you the other day and how you helped me pass my courses and how you helped me understand that I'm, a lot better than I thought I was.
Do you have any specific students that kind of stand out in your mind that you?
I do. There's a fellow by the name of Timmy. He lives in White River, Arizona, and we still exchange letters, and we had a great time. I actually met him. He was part of the Native American Club, and the clubs had to attend the Student Leadership Council meetings in order, at that time they would give funding. The college would give funding to the groups, but they had to have representation. And so their job was to find out what the concerns were with the students and relay them to the people on the Student Leadership Council, and we in turn would try to solve these problems for them, if they were solvable and if they were viable problems that we should be getting involved in.
Do you have any specific moments that you can think between you and Timmy that stand out for you?
Well, let's see. I worked with Timmy in a couple of courses. I think actually I started when I was tutoring him, I started off with a reading course that he was in, and we just had a lot of fun with that, and can't go into too much detail because of FERPA stuff, but yeah, we always had fun. And that's something I'd like to think with all of the students that I tutored, was that I made Western Civ fun, or I made geology fun, or, anthropology was fun, because I did have the enthusiasm and I enjoyed those classes. Plus, working as a tutor, it helped me remember. I'm not sure that I would have done as well as I did in college had I not been tutoring and reinforcing the knowledge that I learned from all the instructors.
Cool. Let's see. What was the Learning Center like then? You want to know all about
the Learning Center back then was really primitive. It was a cave, and instead of whiteboards, we had to, paint on the walls.
Oh, okay.
No, it wasn't quite that bad. We were in the top of building number 3. Well, even before that, when I was a student, it was just in a classroom, and outgrew that, and they added on to building number 3. And, of course, we outgrew the space that we were allotted at that time. We also worked with the testing center. That was not a separate entity at the time. So that was something that was overseen by the Learning Center. And certainly a lot of changes. The individual tutoring is provided by the Student Support Services TRIO grant. At that time, I don't think there was a differentiation between SSS students and everybody else. And today, only SSS students can receive the individual tutoring because the grant pays for that. The institution pays for the rest, for the group tutoring and the drop-in, and any study groups that we might get a tutor to help facilitate. But back then, it was pretty intimate because it was such a small space. I know several times there was no space for me to work with the students that I worked with, and I wound up going from office to office to see if I could kick somebody out and use that space to work with the student. We don't quite have that problem now. It's certainly a nice, bright area. But we could do with probably twice the space, and I'm sure we would fill that too.
Do you have any memories of your bosses that you would like to share with us?
No. Well, I do have memories, but I'm not going to share it on tape. No, I'm fairly easy to get along with, I think. And so I always enjoyed the different personalities that were in there. I know that one person that I worked with would say that she's writing a play called The Learning Center, the Musical. So we, personalities and all that kind of stuff. But I always I focused on the students. I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to the other people.
Worked with a lot of different kinds of students here, and we know that there's some things you can't talk about. Would it be okay if you could talk about them if you didn't use their names? Use a different name?
Sure, I can try. Do you have any specific questions?
Yeah, we want to know about extraordinary students, like some of their backgrounds, where they came from, and where they've gone to today, if you have contact with them.
We've had tutors and students. A lot of our tutors also receive tutoring, which is cool, because I think it's a good role model. We've had students and tutors from all around the globe. I used to have a map in my office with map tags in it, and we've had tutors and students from Iran, Haiti, Jamaica, France, the Ukraine, Japan, and then that other foreign country, I think it's Los Angeles. But I think some of the best students, I was always impressed with the students that were from a foreign country, and English was, a second, third, or fourth language for them, and they tutor English. And I always appreciated that because I understand that they probably learned the proper way to speak English, whereas we speak in the vernacular and slang or, corruption of the language, however you want to put that. Also, I think we had one fellow from Japan that would work with students in math, and I still get emails and postcards from him, birthday cards, Christmas cards, whatever. And he was very good at explaining things, and I think it's because he had to translate the question from English back into Japanese, figure out how he was going to explain it, then translate it back into English. He had to be very clear, to make sure he was getting across to the student. And he's now working on his master's degree in Oklahoma, and just really some fantastic people, and of all ages, from your traditional age, 18-year-old, 17, 18-year-old, to, reentry students that are in their 40s, 50s, 60s. And they all bring to the table just wonderful talents and knacks for working with each other. And we've had students that came in for tutoring and eventually became tutors for us, which is, wonder who that could. But we do have a lot of those. And I guess the best part, aside from working with the tutors and the wonderful contributions they make to Yavapai College and the Yavapai County as a whole in the bigger picture, are the students who come in and they're really reticent to seek help, additional help. They think they should be able to get this first time around and that type of thing. So when they finally get it at the Learning Center, a lot of times they'll come in and they're very shy and kind of withdrawn and say, I need a tutor, and that type of thing. And then you watch them work with the tutors, and the student realizes that, hey, I'm not dumb. I really do get this. I just need a little bit of help and, that type of thing. And then, so the best part is when I really do see that the tutors have worked themselves out of a job. Because tutoring isn't just, it isn't just knowing the subject matter. It's working with the student and how they learn, whether it's visual, auditory, et cetera, and time management, study skills, all of those things. And I think that with tutoring, it always has been, even when I was a tutor. I call the beginning of when I was a tutor the seat of the pants tutoring, because I had no clue. I just knew what I did to get through the course and to do well. And I'd like to think that a lot of our students are benefiting from my experience as that tutors didn't have any training. They just had the recommendation from the instructor saying, she did really well in the class. I think that, she'll make a fine tutor. But there's a lot more to it than that. It's not teaching, it's guiding. And so as a result, I think it was 4 years ago, or at the very beginning, when I took over this position, the college is certified through the College Reading and Learning Association, and then once the tutors have their training and the theoretical and the practical of tutoring, they're eligible to be certified also. And I do think it makes for a better tutoring session and a better tutor, and ultimately a better student on that, because you do learn all the different ins and outs of trying to pry that answer or that concept out of the student. Yeah. As you well know. Yes.
How about your interactions with the actual professors and teachers? Can you tell us anything about that? Were you?
I think I've had nothing but positive. There are a couple of them, and it's like, well, why would my students need tutoring? But after I explain what tutoring really is about. It's just to support the student and the instructor, and it's supporting the instructor outside of the classroom, getting their point across, getting the concepts across. It's not a substitute for being in class, heaven forbid, and it's not to usurp the influence and talents of the instructors. It's definitely a support program, and I think that's doing one of the ways of proving that, providing that is not just through the tutoring, but with the what we call the supplemental instruction, being in the classroom with the instructor, therefore knowing exactly where the instructor is at with those students, and being able to reinforce and clarify for the student.
Have you interacted with any particularly really great professors that really worked with the Learning Center, even as your time with the tutors?
Absolutely. A lot of them are retired now. And but we still, Steve Govedich, Jim Hinton, the various English instructors, Mary Verbout, Brent Roberts, definitely. And he still supports the Learning Center by providing us with an hour and a half of his office time, so he can meet with his students or just help with the general population that come in for the drop-in tutoring. Beth Boyd, certainly, Jill Fitzgerald, Dean Holbrook. Brent and Dean were part of the Student Support Services program at one point, early on in their careers at Yavapai College. And so they understand where we're coming from and heartily support, Carl Siegfried, the various science people, Chris Dunn, Jeb Bevers, Sparks, I can't think of his first name.
Dr.
Steve Sparks?
Yeah, I think I was calling Dr. Sparks.
Jerry Hamilton, all the math and science people, Diane Dudkovich, Smoleniak.
So what exactly do they do? You talked about how Brent comes in. And what other ways do they support the Learning Center?
Well, they'll support us by certainly recommending students to be tutors. That's always a big one. But a lot of times, I just love it when they send a student down saying, you might be a very good tutor. Go down there and talk to Sarah and see if you can't get on board. Because they usually see the students helping out, say in the labs or whatever, or notice them sitting with a group of classmates, and they're kind of facilitating or leading the students to where they need to be. And so they get down there, talk to Sarah, get those students going.
Okay, so this is kind of a different vein. Do you know how the Learning Center got started, where it came from?
I've been here a long time, but not that long. I think I don't know exactly when that got started. It was here when I was a student, and that would be like the mid-'80s. But prior to that, I don't know when that got started.
Okay, yeah. So, as I understand it, you are, or at least you were, involved with the Reentry Club. Is that what it's called?
Correct. That's not only was I a member of it when I was a student, I tried to get it going again, but the problem with the Reentry Club kind of sounds like we're coming out of orbit when you're talking about that. But it's designed basically to support those students that are not traditional age. Oftentimes, you already have a family, you have children, you have a job. I don't know, aside from cloning yourself and, then finding time to be in a club is really a tough thing. And it just, and I haven't had time to pursue it probably as hard or as frequently as should be. But
so what are some of your memories when you were in it, when you were a student here? What are some of your memories? What were some of the activities you did?
I don't really remember any activities. It could very well be, Again, I was a mother, and my husband at the time worked out of the country, so, basically a single parent. And so didn't have time to do a lot of extracurricular activity when my son was not in school. But what I remember the most is we had a little niche. This is, a long time ago. It was basically about the size of a closet, and it had a coffee pot and a table and some chairs, and you could go in there and study, or you could go in there and visit, and had a good time with the people there because, they were all doing the same thing I was doing, going to school, working, and raising their kids. So.
Do you have any stories about any of their stories that you can remember? Particular ones?
I don't, which is too bad. But again, we had a lot of characters in the group. It just runs the gamut of the population of Yavapai County. So I can't think of any particular stories, or one that would be suitable to film.
You're involved with the SSS program, right? How long have you been involved with that, and what is it exactly?
I have been involved with that, well, basically since I've been working at Yavapai College, whether as a part-timer as a tutor or full-time working as the, I guess we would call it an administrative assistant for the Student Support Services program. And so that's 14 years? 14 years is full-time. And so I would say probably 18 to 20 years as a tutor prior to that.
And were you ever involved in any of the activities that, I know, like taking trips, places?
I used to be one of the advisors for the Native American Club when I came on board as a full-time. And so we did take some trips, went to San Francisco, San Diego, probably a few other places. Tucson.
What'd you guys do with it? In all those places?
All those places, well, we would go to the different museums. We would see a performance. We saw Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, cool.
SeaWorld, Universal Studios, San Diego Zoo. Boy, I can't think of what else we did. Fisherman's Wharf and ride the trolley cars. And, all that. Took a group of Native American students ice skating. I don't think any of them had been skating before. And I really wanted to skate because I'm from Minnesota. You skate 9 months out of the year. And but chose not to because I thought if I fall and break my arm or leg or something, who's going to get these students home to Prescott? But they had a blast, and I had a blast watching them trying to stay up on those skates. And some of them caught on just great, and others, they pulled themselves along the wall on that. So, yeah, lots of fun times. Good students. Had a good time.
Cool. What other, how long were you the Native American Club advisor?
I was co-advisor with Christy Kramer and Jolynn Richter. That was back in the old days. And Christy was the Learning Center manager, and Jolynn was one of our reading instructors. And so I did that for a couple years, and then after Christy retired, I was all by myself, and then Lavina Maho shared the responsibility with me for a while, and then I wasn't able to continue with it because I was learning my new job as a tutorial coordinator, so gave that up.
So what was your job before tutorial coordinator?
Administrative assistant for the Student Support Services program.
And so what exactly did you do? Just general?
Yeah, secretarial things, making sure that staff had proper forms and, help organize various activities that we do for the students, whether it's a field trip or workshops or that type of thing. And things have evolved over the years and how we work with the students. And of course, working at the front desk, greeting the students when they come in and getting them pointed in the right direction.
So what kind of workshops have you guys done?
We've done scholarship letter writing workshops. Learning styles, golly, I can name the people that did the workshops, like Al Gardnetti and a couple of people from financial aid and things like that. And we tried to do one on how to get the most out of your tutoring experience, but nobody showed up for that.
Oh, someday.
So I was going to lead that one. And Joseph and Lavina did a lot of them. In fact, they're doing a workshop, or Lavina is working with our mentors within the SSS program and going to learn proper etiquette. That sounds like, somebody, you're going to have your little teacup and things like that, but it's mostly about, you're having a business lunch and, which fork do you use? I don't know if that's something you're concerned with the business lunch. My business lunches are usually at, cafeteria.
Yeah.
You use the plastic fork. So they're getting that together, and then once they have the workshop, then they are going to go to a restaurant and then practice what they've learned.
Oh, that's really cool.
Type of thing. And can't think of anything else. I know there's a whole list of workshops that we do, but can't think of them offhand.
When did you guys get this facility? When did you guys move here?
We have been in here, it was a year in the fall semester, so fall 2006. Prior to that, we were in the swing space. It's called the Community Room in Building 19.
Mm-hmm.
So we were in there, and before that it was in Building 3, the old stomping grounds in Building 3.